All right. Up. All right. What is happening, everyone? I'm only going to be on for 30 or 40 minutes today. I know that's not long, and I apologize for that. Simply speaking, I slept too much today. I know. Story of my life. I wasn't trying to procrastinate. I just really wasn't feeling good this morning. I get that a lot with me. But I'm here, and we're going to do some streaming. So let's get into it. I don't know what I want to play today. So I don't know what's going on with my software. However, I seem to have a slight lag for some reason, which I haven't had that before. So we'll see how bad it interrupts me. Let's just take a look at this here real quick. Just let me check this real quick and we'll see what's going on. Okay, that's for my microphone. So I'll lock that one back up. Huh. Alrighty then. I'm not going to worry about it, I don't suppose. I'm going to kind of cut it close today, it looks. I think I'm going to go to about 115. And we'll just kind of see how that works out. So, I pull that down there, just like that. There we go. Haha. Now it doesn't look like I have a microphone. 'Cause I'm special like that. I think it's a Dark Souls 2 kind of day. We can go with that. Dun, 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 So what's everybody been up to lately? I don't want to just talk about myself. I know nobody's in here yet, but I don't want to be that guy, you know, that nobody wants to talk to because all he does is talk about himself all the time. I mean, there's plenty to talk about. I can share hero stories with you, things that I've done to help people, or I can tell you stories of very poorly lived days gone by. I can tell you funny stories. But I don't want to hear my stories. I know those stories. I want to hear your stories. I realize this is like a bad time of day probably to be streaming, but I don't care. This is about the only time that I have to do it, so that's what we're going to do. Yeah. Audio is like way off. Probably should reset my computer, but I'm only on for a little bit today, so I'm not going to worry about it. That's not too bad, I don't suppose. Okay, so we're going to leave this area. We're going to head back to Majula. Let me see where my stats are right now. Level 13. I think I was putting points into adaptability. So interestingly enough, this is like the 18th billionth time that I've played this game. I used to be super good at Dark Souls 2 back in 2015, 2016. And then Dark Souls 3 released shortly after that. And I went absolutely nuts with that game. So I played that game all the time. Up until here recently, where I've decided to play this now. And that's all I want to play. But now I have a lot less time than what I had before. So the issue becomes... Try that. So the issue becomes that I can't play it as much as I like, which means I can't practice as much. I'm on second shift at work, and I like it. I love the people I work with. But it just... I feel like it takes such a big chunk out of my day because it's in the, you know, it's in the late afternoon, you know. I usually like to be early, so I leave my house around 1 o'clock, and then I head in. On the clock by 2, of course. I don't live far from my job, so that's a good thing. How about a little backstab, Scarecrow? So yeah, I get there, and then I'm not home again until like 10:30 or 11 o'clock. Which really kind of sucks. And then my streaming stuff is set up in the living room. That's where the modem is. I don't have an extra room. If I had an extra room, my stuff would be somewhere else. Then I could probably come home and then play in kind of like the peak times towards the afternoon. Then I got to get up and get the kids off to school. So really, the only time I can really play is after 10 a.m. after I've caught up on my sleep and stuff. Totally missed that guy, didn't I? I thought that would hit them both, but it didn't. I don't want your gloves. I just want life gems, yo. Just give me life gems. God, this character's ugly. Just a reminder, we do have an open forum today, so if anybody is able to join me, we can talk about whatever you like. I'm also thinking about starting a second YouTube channel where people who have recently had a loss in their life can come by and honor the loved one that passed away, and share stories and talk about things, and maybe just get some things off their chest. I think that would be very good. A lot of people don't have money for counselors and stuff like that, so you know, and they don't really feel comfortable talking to people that they know. A lot of people, believe it or not, would feel really comfortable talking to a stranger about something like that. I was thinking about taking some time to set something like that up, and then do some advertising and stuff, and then over time kind of see what happens. But I think that would be, you know, a pretty cool deal. Now again, you know, I wouldn't have to be a licensed therapist or anything like that, because I'm not really giving, you know, practical life advice. Stop ruining me. Of course, I don't think I'd be playing video games while I do it. I just think that would be odd. Don't eat my flesh, sir. Nobody likes a zombie, sir. But, you know, I would just, I was thinking about getting a separate, like, number for my phone. And then you would call that number. Of course, I'd have another microphone set up for the audio for that. And then you would just call in, and, you know, we could talk about honoring the person that you lost or that you loved or whatever. I mean, heck, we could talk about aliens. We could talk about church. We could talk about your job. We just talk. Free of charge, and it won't be like a talk show that you would call into where you call in with an opinion and then they basically tell you how stupid you are when they don't agree with you. So you get to keep your opinion, and then we could discuss the range of opinion or opposing opinion. Without you feeling like an idiot. Or having somebody else's beliefs pushed out on you just because. I think that is a great idea. It wouldn't be hard for me to get a number like that. then you would just call the number, and we would do our thing. What's with the broken straight swords? This is like broken straight sword heaven. I just got 2 from this area. That is stupid! So stupid! Bum, 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 bum. Stupid! Stupid! I gotta make sure that this isn't too close. Stupid! There we go. That's better. Oh, crap. Oh, you know what? I can do that from right here. No, I can't, because I'm not signed in. Hold on just 1 second. I'm going to send a message out. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, come on. All right. Let's save up a little money. All right, back to where we were. So I was talking about the live channel where anyone can call in and just talk and get their voice heard. Without getting your opinion smashed up. So what I would have to do to make that successful is that it would have to be free. And by clicking the channel, you would have to understand that, oh my goodness, that the beliefs expressed by others on my show are not necessarily my beliefs. And also you would have to understand that I'm not a licensed professional, and it's not a show where you can, like, you know, get professional advice. So that way, if you do ask me for some advice and I give you some advice, you can't sue me. Not that you would want to sue me, because I am extremely poor. But I do have a lot of good advice to give. You know? And if I don't know something about something, we'll search it up, and you can call back in, and we can give it a go. I think that would be so cool. So I'd have to save up some money for advertising. Get out of here. Junk. Junk. Do I want the fire sword? Do I want the fire sword? Do I want the fire sword? I don't really want the fire sword. I don't think I want anything down there. I think there's a human effigy down there. Okay, let me get this bonfire, because if I die, I gotta start all over again. I've lost a lot of people too, you know? So I understand what that's like. I used to get really sad when people died. And especially, you know, when my father passed away. I should say both of them, you know. I had a dad and a stepdad for most of my life, like most people nowadays, you know. Almost everyone has a step-parent, right? With a divorce rate of 70% in this country in which we live, you know, a lot of people are going to have a step-parent and a regular parent. Even those who have parents that never married, that's a very common thing too, you know. So, hey, no matter who you are, you're going to have people in and out of your life your whole life. It's just kind of the way that it is. And so, you're going to grow attached to people. And one day, some unfortunate event will happen, and you will lose that person. And I don't really think that we completely lose that person. I don't. What I think happens is we feel the loss for that person, and that loss really takes everything over. So I really think that the key is to try to not focus on that loss. Now, that's probably very self-explanatory, and that probably sounds really stupid. But let me explain what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, when somebody dies, a lot of, especially Western people now, are starting to really believe, and we actually have a lot of evidence that's starting to back it up now through quantum studies and things like that, that we have a soul, okay? And when we die, that soul will either go one of two places, heaven or hell. Now, I do profess to be a Christian. I do have some different views, though, outside of normal Christianity, and I don't want to tick anybody off. I will say this. I agree with Christianity and most other religions that when we die, our soul goes somewhere else. That I don't think that, you know, I think our body goes into the ground, like, you know, atheists say, and it rots. But I don't think that that's the end. I think that we either go on to another plane of existence, whether it's the astral realm or some other realm. I think we go on to some other existence. But I don't, you know, I don't know if we necessarily come back in another lifetime, you know. I don't know if that's the case. I know a lot of Eastern religions kind of subscribe to that. I think that would be, like, super cool. So. And the whole purpose of that is to come back and hopefully make better decisions than you did before. So that would be a cool thing. I'm going to jump over here. But I think how we view other people passing on is just as important as how we live our own life. And I think that when people pass away, I don't think we should be sad for them, because they were here for a reason, and when they pass on, they do go to somewhere else much better. Now, since I haven't experienced firsthand what death is actually like, I've never had I mean, I've come close a couple of times, but I've never actually died. So I've never had a near-death experience. I've never been that close. I've been pretty close, but not that close. So I can't really speak for that because I've never done it firsthand. And you know, I really like the Bible, and I really like a lot of other religions and stuff, as I said, and it's very possible that a person could die and their soul could go somewhere, you know, somewhere else, one of two places. I see it being more beneficial if there is an eternal soul. I see it being more beneficial to kind of, if our souls did more of what Buddhist teachings tell us. You live a cycle of lifetimes to hopefully one day achieve a certain state, and then you completely move on after that, and that's the end, you know, achieving that enlightenment, that attainment for that eternal process. I like that a lot better because I take it in terms of, you know, if I created something, if I create an object, because I'm human, I'll probably have some kind of love for that inanimate object. Okay? That being said, if I create an inanimate object that I love, I don't see the point in completely destroying it. And maybe I could change it in ways, manipulate it, fashion it to be better. Manipulate's a bad word these days because it's taken out of context whenever it's used. It's associated with negativity, and it was never meant for that purpose. But in the Western English language, we really abuse that word. But let's say I build something and I refashion it multiple times. I make it better. You know, that's one thing. And even if I destroy it for one reason or another, that's a completely separate thing as well. However, if I created a life form, okay, and this has a lot to do with emotional intelligence, okay. I do not see the point of creating a life form and then destroying it. I absolutely could not do that. Creating a life form is probably one of the most awesome things that any creator could ever do. I don't want to get blown up. Hold on one second. So, why do that? Why create something and then say, boom, that's it, you know? I don't think I could do that. For those of you that know me, I'm a very compassionate person. And if truly I am created in the image of God, which I believe that all beings, everything is beautiful. Trees, plants, animals, human beings, etc. If we are created, and we are beautiful in the eyes of God, and we are created in His image, yes, we have free will. I get that. And people make very stupid decisions, horrible decisions at times, decisions that I can never explain. But I still don't see it. I still don't see it. I can't figure out why someone would create something and then destroy it. Just can't do that. Even in the society that we live in today, where everything is created and then within months, you know, you look at electronics. I can't solder something together and build a circuit board and, you know, do all that stuff and build something really amazing like a quantum computer or whatever. But there's quantum computers that have been built that have already been thrown away, and quantum computers have not been out a long time at all. You know? It's insane the amount of stuff that we throw away. I mean, it's good you don't want to be a pack rat, obviously. But I don't see it. So I think, back to the original point, I think that when we go, I think we either go on to the next plane of existence. I think it is quite possible that we can come back in some form. I do, because I have read many accounts, especially in the Buddhist tradition, where children are born with the memories of the Buddhas or other people that went on before them. They can pick out the physical objects that the people in that life previously lived. If you take, you know, several objects and set it in front of, you know, a young child, what's the probability that they're going to pick out the same objects of the person that died before them? You know, that they're supposed to be or whatever. That's extremely unlikely to happen. The odds just aren't there. I don't think, you know, I don't think we got this whole religion thing correct. Other than the spiritual practice of doing unto others as you would have them do unto you, and loving your neighbor as yourself, I think there's still a lot that we don't understand that we're trying to explain. And I think that we shouldn't miss out on that. I think that's a great opportunity. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not a follower of Jesus, because I am. But I just follow in kind of a different tradition. Now, that doesn't take any of his power away. I'm not saying that, you know, he didn't die on the cross, and I'm not saying that he didn't come back 3 days later from the dead or anything like that. I'm not stating that whatsoever, and I'm not going to go into completely what I believe right now, especially because I don't have anybody really chatting in here, so, you know, typing anything in, so I don't know what other people are thinking. So I'm not going to go into my complete personal beliefs, but what I will tell you is that we would be insane as a people to think that we can pull all our spiritual knowledge out of just one book or another. Uh-oh. So, what happens when we pass on? Do we come back? Is that possible? It could be. But I just don't think that we should subscribe to eternal damnation. Completely. If you want to believe that, that's your belief. I just don't see how that's completely possible. I do think that there are people who are put here for... I'm gonna die. I do think that there are people that are put here for a very specific reason, and I think they're put here to help guide us. Ooh, that's a good sword. I think they're here to help guide us through our suffering, and I think that's the point of the life that we live, right now is that we're going to endure suffering, and we're going to live a lifetime of different sufferings. And so when I look at that, I equate that to what I was saying before. It all ties into how we deal with loss in our life, and that was the original topic. So I've lost a few people lately, and as I said before, you know, I struggled for years after my dad passed away and after I lost my stepdad, because my relationships with them were very strained. Not so much due to my choice, I think. Maybe our choices collectively, because we're all responsible for the relationships that we have with each other, good or bad. But I really think that our emotions, because we're used to having things, we're used to having people. It's what we know. They're around us all the time. They do things with us. They take us places. They talk to us. They teach us. They teach us in good ways and bad ways. And that all has an impact on how we think or feel. So, I think that when a person dies, they will move on in one way or another. And because I have not passed on, I have no idea in my, I have no possible way of truly knowing, what happens with that person. Yet, like many other people on the planet, billions of people, I assume that they go somewhere better, at least. I'm not saying that there isn't a hell or a heaven. I'm saying that they at least go on to somewhere else. I would like to think that we do have some sort of cycle or rebirth, or that there's at least a heaven, because as a creative person, I would want anything that I create to be, if I had the power to create something like that, I would want it to go on into a higher state of function or cognitive spiritual ability. If you can survive as that type of energy outside the body, then regardless of my experiences with my creation, I would want it to continue. That's just me. Now, I'm different than other people. So, but when dealing with that loss, when people pass away, we tend to get really sad because we don't have that familiarity anymore. That familiarity is just completely gone. And all we can think of in ourselves is that we have this great loss now. We have a hole in our life that needs to be filled, and that person is no longer there to do that. Now keep in mind that in and of itself, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or burst anybody's bubble, that's very selfish. You know what I mean? If a person could experience their own death and think inside their body afterwards, I would probably think that they would say that they really got, pardon my French here, but I would imagine that they would feel like they got a really shit end of the deal, Who wants to die? I mean, some people want to die, I guess. But if you really die, I just don't see how you could be happy about something like that. Now, if you're a Christian and stuff, and you get your beliefs, but I'm just saying, most people, if they pass on, and you could talk to them afterwards, if they really enjoyed their life, why do people, the last thing people talk about before they die? Most people, studies have proven this, on their deathbed, they talk about things that they regret not doing. And think about that for a minute. If you talk about things that you regret not doing, then you're talking about things that you still want to do. So if you still want to do something, you still want to cling to life. My controller batteries are low. Great. So that being said, the person that passes also has the need or want to cling to life. Okay? So, if they pass on, I need to cling on to their life as well, because I loved them in some fashion. With that being the case, once they are completely gone, I'm going to be really sad, obviously. But I have to believe that, from my experience and things that I've witnessed and people that I've talked to, I don't get sad when people die anymore. I do for a minute. But I do not, and I want you to understand this completely. I do not carry that with me anymore, like I used to. And I don't think it's because I got used to people dying. If you get used to people dying, I don't think you have a soul. You know what I mean? No! 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 I'm gonna die because I have no batteries. Oh, this is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Terrible. Okay, so just really quickly, what I'm saying is that when people die, I believe that they move on. Period. The end. I believe that their soul goes somewhere. I believe that they return to whatever energy created them, or they go on to a better state of being. That's just me personally. Okay? So, and I realize that the more attachments that I have, the more suffering that I can attain. And in life, there's so much going on. If you can choose to not suffer, if you can learn the art of suffering less, then ultimately, you're going to live a happier life. If you are stuck on the fact that your loved one or your relative went somewhere worse than where they are or where they were before they passed on, wow, that's a lot of negativity associated with that death. Now again, that can serve as a useful tool to put you back on the right path. But you shouldn't need a tool to put you back on the right path, because you have the ability to teach yourself things and grow past who you are and to be a better moral person. So I don't think the threat of going somewhere worse is a good deterrent. And obviously it's not a good deterrent, because there are millions of people the world over that are doing horrible things right now. So if it was a good deterrent, we'd have much better results than what we have in society. That's like if I go out and commit a crime right now, I know I'm going to go to jail, and I know it's going to suck, okay? But if I'm angry, or, if I just decided that I don't care anymore, once a person decides that, once a soul decides that, you can't hurt them. When you lock them up, it doesn't, for most people, it doesn't do anything for them. It doesn't change who they are. It doesn't make them want to be a better person. Punishment is not a good form of changing people. Influence through love, influence through compassion is the best way to help a person change. And I don't care what anybody says about that. I've seen it work firsthand in my life with other people after I changed some of what I believe and some of my theories and stuff, so I know that it's true. So that being said, when somebody passes on, I'm sad for a little bit. And my sadness only lasted, the last couple of people that I lost, my sadness has only lasted maybe a day. And I know that sounds really crude to probably a lot of people, but I know how bad people suffer. I've lived it, and I've watched them live it. I've seen them go through the things that they go through. So because of what I believe, I know that when they pass on, they're not suffering anymore. So why should I suffer? That makes absolutely no sense to me at all. Grieving is human and it's natural, but there are cultures all over the world that have death celebrations and in rituals, even in our own. I played a life celebration a year or two ago for a friend who lost someone very important to them, and there were some emotional moments, but it was a really good time. So I think that we should honor people who pass on, not just by saying good things about them or believing good things about them, but we should honor them by not mourning for them more than what we need to, if that makes any sense. They're gone. They've moved on. There's nothing we can do about it. We can hope to see them again someday. We can hope to speak with them in another fashion, maybe in another life, maybe in heaven, maybe in the spiritual realm, or whatever you subscribe to. I can't tell anybody what they can or can't believe, and I would never do that. I think that's a bad way to influence people. The worst way you can influence somebody is by telling them no. Because when you tell somebody no, or when you tell somebody that they're wrong, you lose your ability to inspire them. And when you lose your ability to inspire them, you no longer share a pliable relationship with them. Oh, now I'm getting invaded. Great, and I have no batteries. This is what happens, folks, when you have kids. This guy is going to find me, and he's going to kill me. I can't believe this is happening right now. Oh, here he comes. I can't even turn around. Ah! Dead. And he's going to make fun of me. Oh, my goodness. Well, my time's almost over. So, if you're watching this now, or you're watching this later, just know that whatever your thoughts are, whatever your beliefs are, that's okay with me. It's totally okay with me. But don't get mad at me when you talk to me about someone who's passed on and I look very happy. Just don't. Because honestly, those people have suffered a lot, and they deserve to move on to something better. And I'm happy for them that they got to go. Honestly, that's really the way that I feel. There's nothing better than passing on into what is coming next. And I think that if we grieve for them and we mourn for them for years at a time, even months at a time, we're just hurting ourselves. And I think that they can see that. And so we hurt them and we grieve them. I believe that however you can explain it with quantum theory or however you can explain it spiritually, we all share the same energy. And a lot of cultures believe that beings that have passed on can look back and even be our guides. I mean, I've had dreams about people coming back and telling me things and whatever else. So I think it's true. And I wouldn't want to grieve somebody, you know. Who wants to die and then go on to wherever they're going and then, you know, whatever spiritual being says, you need to go back and help this person because they're stuck, you know. It's great that that person can come back and say, hey, you know, you need to do something about this, but at the same time, that person, that being is still going to have emotional capacity, right? We believe the soul contains emotional capacity. You know, in the Bible it says not to grieve the Spirit. So, you know, talking about the Spirit of God, you know, the Trinity and stuff. So, if you can grieve a spirit, why would you want to? Don't be selfish. When people die, grieve. Follow that natural process. There's nothing wrong with that. But in your grieving, teach yourself to celebrate that loss. That's the most important thing. I think that's the lesson of life, is to learn not to be selfish when you lose someone. That's when you learn the most. And that's when you start to gain more compassion. So when you see me on Facebook and I'm remembering a loved one, or you see me out at a ceremony or something like that, you don't need to say, sorry for your loss, you know. Instead, let's talk about the good things that gave us the love that we had for the people that we remember. And let's not be sorry for each other's loss, but instead, let's be happy for the gain of that person that has passed on. And let's celebrate and be compassionate towards each other. I don't have any more time. I guess I gotta go to work. So for all of you out there, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you had a good time. And if you watched this video later, I hope you enjoyed that as well. If you have any comments or questions, go ahead and comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video, and there's also a subscribe button that you can push, and you need to ring the little gray bell. I think it might be golden. I think it's gray after you touch it, but ring the notification bell. Bang the bell. That's what we're going to call it. Bang that bell. Okay, so then whenever I'm online, you'll get notifications, or whenever I post something new, you'll get notifications. And like I said, leave your comments below. Ask me some questions or whatever, and then the next time I'm on, we'll talk about those things, and we'll share with each other, and we'll grow with each other. I'm out of here, folks. I hope you all have a great day. I love you all very much. Take care.